The following is a fan-based discussion. All properties discussed are property of Toei Inc., Bandai, Hasbro, and Subaru Productions.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Tokutalk. Today, we're talking about weapons and Toku. I think, weirdly enough, I want to focus more on Rider and Sentai in this one. Because it shows up the most for them. Can I
credence to the other ones as well.
Yeah, can I start with negative?
Please do.
I'm tired of seeing swords everywhere. Like, I know they're easy to make and easy to play with at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's probably the big one.
They're also everywhere.
Everyone seems to have one, whether you're a rider or a Sentai. We have our sword and we have our sidearm.
Yeah.
Usually one and the same sometimes.
And I think
well, they can be, not usually.
I'm just really bored of that. Exceedingly so in some cases.
I think it's less a problem that they're swords and it's more a problem that it's always the same kind of sword. It's just a generic straight sword.
Or
that's been colored correctly to match the show's aesthetic.
Or in X8's case, gunblade.
But that's fine though.
Yeah, it's like that's a little different.
That's a little different, yeah.
But it's just combining the sidearm and the sword together. Like, weirdly enough, and you've heard me say this, but I mostly say it because of the meme. My favorite sidearm is Change Swordo from Change Band because it's a lie half of the time. It's a sword, but it's also a shield, but it's also a gun.
Change Swordo.
So you're like, that's such a lie and I don't care. I love it. But it's just like the sword is everywhere. And everybody has one. Even if they have like their own individual weapons, more often than not, there tends to be a generic sword sidearm to go along with that.
Yeah.
I'm just like...
Something for melee, because we don't get a lot of... It's never too much with... in Sentai especially, it's never fists. Unless you're Geki Ranger or...
Die
Ranger. You're one of the martial arts themed ones. Yeah. Or Zyuodra, I think, is another example where they have like an actual melee-themed buff that they get from their Zuman side.
I'm going to exclude Zeo Ego from that because he gets a whip sword.
I was going to say more of I was thinking Gorilla, but with the fist. But yeah, that's true. He does get the Ivy Snake sword, which is cool. That's something we really don't ever see.
And more than not, at least, and I notice this more when it comes to the women. They tend to get, if they have their own specific one, it tends to be some type of blaster.
It tends to be a ranged weapon.
Yeah, I'm specifically thinking...
Blue Dolphin has her bow.
Blue Dolphin has the bow. Boken Pink has the submarine gun. Back in the day, I'm talking about like Change Band, when they brought their sidearms together to make the big cannon.
Right.
I mean, pretty much everybody in that had a ranged weapon. I also just hated the look of those. Because Pink had like the little visor part at the top.
Yeah.
And it had like the smallest little laser. So small. So small.
So small.
And it was just like, she holds it here. And I'm just... who thought this is a good idea to give them all sidearms like that? It was a weird time back in the day. I would love to see more bow staffs. Or spears. We haven't really seen either one of... we have Bo Kinger, of course, because Redhead is on.
Right.
I would love to see Ryder do more with that. We've had Rod form. We've had, like, Kuga's Pegasus form. But we really don't get a lot of staffs.
Type Metal from W.
Yeah,
I think is a good example.
We don't get a lot of staffs, and that makes me sad.
No, we don't.
I really do wonder what... Maybe because they're easier to sell... Maybe because they know at the end of the day it's dull. Like, a staff is a blunt weapon.
Yeah.
And that's just straight up a blunt weapon.
It's also a very long weapon. You swing that in the house, you're just begging to knock mom's china off the walls.
But kids are wild anyway.
Yeah, true.
They're going to go like this with the sword. They're going to hit themselves in the face. They're not even nunchucks. More nunchucks. I know we just sort of got them in Dino Fury, but they broke after like 5 seconds. So who cares?
Doesn't count.
Not at all. What are some hammers?
Now, when you say hammer, do you mean an actual hammer? Or do you mean Toku's habit of calling something that isn't a hammer, such as a mace?
I'm not talking about a mace in this case.
Or, what's the other one?
Knight of Spear, and it's a lance.
Knight of Spear, but it's a lance.
I would love to see a little bit more variety in the weapons that they have. Like, we've had, like, swinging mauls. We've had a mace. Had a lance. Like, when I talk about actual hammers, I talk about something like Broken Black. Or Toku Sango.
Right.
I love it. I love to see the exceedingly random impact.
Mm-hmm.
However, on the other side of that, like you said, we don't really get a lot of close range combat weapons. Like, we had nunchucks. We've had...
Aside from our swords and whatnot.
Yeah, the surf swords. Tokyo Go had a claw.
Mm-hmm.
Just one. And I don't think that worked for me personally. I felt like if she had the claw, there should have been two of them.
I agree. Because that's, it's the Tora claws from O's.
Yeah.
And I think...
Well, no, they were just like the handle in the middle. It was the one from Lost Galaxy / Gingaman.
I know what you're talking about, but I'm also talking about like in terms of like claw weapons.
Yeah.
For striking and whatnot.
I wonder why. It seems like these...
Search me.
I think we just need a little bit more variety more than anything else. I really, really hope that number 47 turns out to be a martial arts themed one again. Because we haven't had one since Geki.
Now, from what I've seen of Dawn Brothers as of recording this video, he does have a sword as well, right?
Yep,
and I think one of the things that makes weapons stand out more often than their design is the way they're used. Mm-hmm. In the case of the red from what's his name, Momotaro.
Dom
Momotaro, thank you. The way he moves, he's like very. They got like a very tall and lanky actor to play him.
It really did, and it definitely shows in the torso.
So it shows in the torso. He has a very long torso and long limbs, and it shows in his fighting style how it's all very loose and it's all very like wide slashes and like using his body and momentum to get a leg up. And I like stuff like that. Mm. I like it when weapons can be form specific, or at least part specific, like we talked about with O's. Mm-hmm. Whether that's the claws, whether it's the Taja spinner, the Putotira axe, which becomes the bazooka.
More axes.
Yeah, axes are cool. Yeah, weapons in general are cool. They can be, but I think it's usually less about like the weapon itself, and that's I think one of the main reasons. It's like, we'll just start with a generic straight sword. We're going to, tweak it design-wise so that it looks like it fits in with the aesthetics of our character and our show. And then we build the fighting style around that. And I think a lot of the problem comes from mostly the fighting style is just like we hit things. It doesn't really feel disciplined. Yeah. And it doesn't feel like we're making the sword our own. In some way, and I think Momotaro is a good example of that. From what I've seen thus far.
Yeah, I think if they do it, we should get a little bit more variation in the size of the sword. Like if you give them like what
Buster
they gave
sword.
We'll talk about that one in a second. What they gave Blue Maz, they gave him 2.
Right.
And they did that in Die Ranger as well. We haven't gotten like a really big sword since the recognized Zanto from Shinkenger. Mm. I would love that.
I mean, Saber, we kind of got one with Saber with
boy,
with Okino and his sword.
Yeah, I like things like Saber. I think really enough did the sword a little bit better because they had a little bit more variation in the swords proper. I mean, like they had a rapier, they had the double, they had a really big buster, a shorter one but it was thicker. Scimitars and stuff, we don't get size, but I think that's also because they usually end up getting associated with death.
I think the closest thing we've got to that would be, Ichigo form and Gaim have the 2 daggers. The strawberry daggers.
Oh yeah, the kunai with chain, without chain.
Kunai with berries.
Kunai without chain. Yeah, I don't know. What is something we would like to see more going forward besides lack of sword?
Getting back to what I said earlier, it's less lack of sword and more make the sword your own, or at the very least, a different kind of sword.
Yeah.
For, strangely enough, even though it's Japanese, we don't get a lot of katanas outside of, say, Shinkenger.
Yeah, really? Why?
I think a lot of it has to do with the aesthetics of the show overall. Something like Saber, which is more, Western literature inspired, except for, maybe the ninja. We don't get a lot of Japanese designs there. We have the ninja. They have their ninja swords. And then we have
Kakaranger and
Hurricane as well.
I would love to see a Masamune. I'm talking about the one from Sephiroth.
That's what I was thinking. I just beat Elden Ring. My weapon of choice was the Moonlight Katana, the Moonbeam Katana. And it's a very long katana. And it helped me beat the game. So I would love... It's just like long katanas that can keep your opponent at a distance, but, can also help you if you get up close. I mean, something really cool about that.
Guy Mather, bow and arrow. In Revise, he has... When the third or fourth power came in, he got the shield. Vice did. I would like to see a little bit more in terms of shields. Maybe not as small as the Changeman ones, but that's because they had a tertiary purpose of being a 3-in-1. I would like to see a little bit more in terms of like a legitimate shield. Even like an arm guard like they had in Kyoryuger and Ryu Soldier. Something just a little bit different that isn't just standard sword. And I think that was sort of one of my many problems with Ryu Soldier. Just sword. Just standard sword, and then he had a gun with a dagger attachment. It was basically a gunanetta.
And Bayonettas were on her heels.
Do that.
And they were great.
Give us more sidearms like Deca Ranger did. Double gun. Turned to a freaking shotgun, more or less.
Another thing I'd like to see them do with weapons is just go nuts. I would love to see a season again like Go-Go 5, where we're just having silly weapons like the hula hoops and the
Goggle 5.
Goggle 5, sorry. But yeah, the ribbons and the hula hoops and the bowling pins. If we got to return to something like that,
I would love some
where the weapons are just dumb.
I would love some insanity.
Especially since in Sentai in recent years has been much more willing to just lean in and play up the goofiness of it all.
Also, I think
I would love to see them do that.
Popular Sentai in terms of just like pure ratings, Goggle 5.
Is it?
Yes.
If you say so.
Where's the weird? Give us some weird.
I mean, they did. Just play it up a little more.
Yeah, just play it up a little bit more. I would love to see more ribbons.
I think
the hula hoop.
I think Zenkaiger did this very well with Zox with his pirate wheel gun. That was also a tambourine.
That was also a sword.
Yes, that was also a sword. That was also a gun. That was also the morpher. That's versatility, folks.
That's the thing. I want to see a little bit more versatility going forward. I'm not big into like the actual toys proper, but I would just love to see just weird. I want weird. Weird on both sides.
Do you want weird? I would love to have the more weirder weapons in Sentai.
Yeah. I mean, we could do it in Rider a little bit.
We could do it in Rider, but Rider first has to also be weird.
Revise is getting a little bit there.
Okay. I'm not caught up, so I can't say, but...
I mean, nunchucks have not been around in such a long time. Bring those back. Do it! You won't.
Have like nunchucks with but they're shotguns. They're just like two shotguns chained together.
That was a thing somewhere.
I'm sure it was.
I've seen sword chucks. That was stupid. I loved it. But he also kept cutting himself in the head, so.
Ouch.
But yeah. I just know what you think. What are your favorite ones?
I do want to... There are more I want to talk about, though. Okay. I think...
Shotgun nunchucks.
Yeah, why not?
I love that.
I think we also need to mention Ultraman.
Okay.
And how most of the time it's just a little dagger that he gets.
Talk about Zed.
Zed, but also many, many others. It's like he gets like a dagger or it's like a smaller sword.
Yeah.
It's just some kind of weird like abstract shape that kind of has a blade on it.
Like the ring thing from Trigger. That was really, really strange, and I still don't get that.
That or it's just like some sort of like, I don't know, there was one where he had like it was like a, I don't know what the name of it is. It's like kind of like the thing Valdo has, like a claw, but it's like a blade at the end.
Oh, yeah. Without the movement.
That, I think, because in the Gene movie, I think it was just the movie where he got that giant hammer mace thing.
Yeah, that was like a weird club.
Yeah.
Oni's sister has a club.
Yeah.
I would love a club.
That was great. I would love to see Ultraman get bigger weapons.
Yeah.
I would love to see Ultraman just go to town on somebody with a mace that is as big as he is. I would love to see Ultraman swing a giant axe or hammer or sword that causes like such a devastating shockwave that it like levels a forest. And that's what I want to see.
We get the finisher where it just gets bigger.
Yeah, why not?
I love the bigness.
I think one of the shows that does. I mean, let's switch over gears to Garo as well.
Yeah,
Garo does swords very well.
Yeah,
I think because I think one of the things that really helps it is they're actually swords. They're actually like it's actually prop metal.
They're actually swords.
Swords. Stabbing swords, piercing swords, and swords.
Yes.
But
yeah, where it's prop metal.
It's prop metal, and I like that a lot. And the way they integrate that with the magic used by the Makai priestesses is wonderful, especially in Goldstorm. Goldstorm did the best.
The pens and the guns.
Mm-hmm. But good stuff from that.
All you gotta do, I think it just comes down to creativity.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't end up having the same thing every single year. Yeah, Bokinger had the standard sword sidearm, but we also had the lance and the bow and the
shovel,
wind turbine,
and a metal detector.
And a wind turbine.
Yeah. That
was used as like a punching weapon. That's crazy.
Zenkaiger had his pickaxe. Broom had his pickaxe.
Mini pick. But yeah. Let us know what your favorite weapons are in the comments below. Let us know what you would like to see going forward. And don't forget to join us all the things. And we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for watching.